Nobody expected it from the Dallas Cowboys. So we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Tony Pollard has shockingly left the Dallas Cowboys and are on the hunt to sign ex-Chiefs running back. The chaos of the free agency has begun, and the Dallas Cowboys are being urged to make their move for a former Kansas City Chiefs running back. The team has already seen Tony Pollard head to the Tennessee Titans, but have yet to replace him. And it's not just Pollard that has to be replaced. Backup RB Rico Dowdle is also expected to leave. That's why Blogging the Boys writer Brian Martin thinks the team should pursue Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Considering the lack of a proven commodity at the RB position right now in Dallas, taking a flyer on Edwards-Helaire isn't a terrible idea, Martin wrote on March 11th. This is one of those low-risk, high-reward type of signings the Cowboys haven't been shy about making in the past. And signing and bringing him to camp for a look-see wouldn't be financially damaging if it didn't work out. Martin admits that Edwards-Helaire has a similar frame to current Cowboys RB Deuce Vaughn, but as compact runners they bring very different skill sets, and CEH has far more experience. After being selected as the number 32 overall pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, Edwards-Helaire immediately made an impression for the Chiefs, totaling 803 rushing yards and 4 TDs and an average 4.4 yards per carry. The former LSU Tiger lived up to his draft billing. However, his role has slowly regressed in recent years. Pro Football Reference shows that his number of touches and yards has decreased in each of the past 3 seasons. Further, the arrival of Isaiah Pacheco further cemented that CEH is no longer the top back in the room. And while that may not be a selling point to Cowboys fans, his potential pay should be. Spotrac projects a 1-year, $1.6 million deal for whoever signs Edwards-Helaire. For a guy who once was a first-round pick and lead back, that is tremendous value. As Martin mentioned in his write-up, there is no real risk signing that kind of deal. If Dallas doesn't plan to get a marquee back, someone like Helaire makes logistical and financial sense. While the Cowboys figure out their plans at running back, former Dallas RB Tony Pollard is headed to the AFC South. On March 11th, KPRC2 reporter Aaron Wilson stated that Pollard was set to sign with the Tennessee Titans in free agency. Shortly after, ESPN insider Adam Schefter revealed what kind of deal Pollard is getting in Tennessee. Compensation update. Titans are giving former Cowboys running back a 3-year, $24 million deal per source, Schefter wrote on X. That's a sizable deal for Pollard, who played on the franchise tag with Dallas in 2023. That tag paid him just over $10 million for his services last season, so he's not taking a massive pay cut in his next deal. There was speculation that Pollard could come back to the Cowboys, but it became less likely as free agency approached. Now Dallas knows for a fact that they will need a new starting RB in 2024. The second story is Cowboys interested in trade for Eagles' $45 million star. The Dallas Cowboys could be interested in a potential trade with the division rival. As noted by Mike Fisher of Sports Illustrated, a source indicates the Cowboys are interested in a trade for Philadelphia Eagles' 2-time Pro Bowl linebacker Xavier Legette. The 29-year-old Redick has been given permission to seek a trade. The Cowboys have respect for Redick as well, which is why our source mentions Dallas and Jacksonville as among the teams that are interested in making a move, writes Fisher. As Fisher further details, the Cowboys are investigating ways to acquire Redick. And an NFL source tells CowboysSI.com that the idea of the Dallas Cowboys investigating ways to acquire Redick is real too, writes Fisher. The 7-year veteran is coming off of his 2nd consecutive Pro Bowl berth after registering an 11-sack season. He posted a career-best 16 sacks during the 2022 season, with 4 Eagles defenders posting double-digit numbers in sacks during that year. While Redick's production is not an issue, the Eagles are going through a fire sale of sorts along the defensive line. They're also shopping Josh Sweat, who had a Pro Bowl year in 2021 and registered 11 sacks during the 2022 season. As Fisher mentions, a more reasonable time frame for a Redick trade would be post-June 1st for salary cap reasons. Trading Redick after June 1 would result in $16 million cap savings and a $5.8 million dead cap hit. Meanwhile, trading Redick before June 1st would result in a dead cap hit of $20.5 million and a cap savings of just $1.3 million. The matter of compensation coming back in a trade for Redick? It's anybody's guess right now, especially because if Philly wants to do something cap-friendly, it needs to be post-June 1, at which time getting draft picks for him will be about 2025, writes Fisher. Over the past 4 seasons, Redick has posted at least 11 sacks in each season, totaling 40.5 sacks during that time frame, the 4th highest in the NFL since 2020. While the idea of the Cowboys being interested in acquiring one of the top young pass rushers in the NFL isn't exactly surprising, the notion of the Eagles trading one of their 2 players to their chief division rival is hard to imagine, regardless of what type of draft capital Dallas is willing to give up. The more reasonable scenario where the Cowboys could acquire Redick sees the Eagles simply cut him and Dallas then sign him. The Cowboys and other teams could force the Eagles' hand and hope he gets released with a post-June 1 designation, in which case the Eagles could cut him and save $16 million under the salary cap, writes Fisher. We'll see what the Eagles end up doing with Redick, but it's hard to envision them releasing a sack artist in the midst of his prime without receiving anything in return. Pro Football Focus projects Redick as having potential second-round pick trade value. Across 7 seasons, Redick holds career totals of 58 sacks and 410 tackles in 81 starts in 114 career appearances, including stints with the Arizona Cardinals and Carolina Panthers. It doesn't seem like it at the moment, as day 1 of NFL free agency on Monday is very much about who is leaving Dallas and/or spurning Dallas. But the Cowboys do have a roster-building plan, right? And they do need a running back, right? That player won't be Saquon Barkley. He's signing with the Eagles. That player won't be Tony Pollard. He's signing with the Titans. But now another name just came into the picture. Will the Cowboys really make an immediate call to Aaron Jones now that the Green Bay Packers have cut him following their attempt at negotiating a pay cut? That was the early Monday word, thanks to a Washington Post suggestion. And now an NFL source is telling CowboysSI.com that Dallas is interested in Jones. Do we expect action here? If you followed our coverage on the scoops that were attaching Dallas to the likes of Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, you already know that answer. It's about the money, and Jones will have other suitors. But that doesn't make Jones a bad idea. At age 29, injuries are now an issue. But the Cowboys have reason to be haunted by the damage he did them in the playoffs. Jones rushed for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns in the Packers' opening round win over the Cowboys in the playoffs. Oh, and added 108 more yards in the Packers' second-round loss to the 49ers. The third story is wide receiver Xavier Legette is an intriguing early-round option for the Dallas Cowboys draft. The Dallas Cowboys have one of the top wide receivers in the league in CeeDee Lamb, and they also have veteran Brandon Cooks, who can still play at a pretty high level. After that, the team has some uncertainty with Michael Gallup, a possible salary cap casualty, and the inexperience of Jalen Tolbert and Jalen Brooks. Speaking of Brooks, his former collegiate teammate could be an intriguing addition for Dallas. Xavier Legette played at South Carolina for 5 seasons. He only racked up 42 receptions for 423 yards and 5 touchdowns during his first 4 years. However, 2023 was his breakout campaign as he amassed 71 catches for 1,255 yards and 9 touchdowns and garnered second-team All-SEC honors as well. That's only 1 year of high-level production, but Legette has some traits that could translate very well on the professional level. Legette stands 6'1" and weighs 221 pounds. So he has very good size at the receiver position. He uses it to his advantage as his frame and his 40-inch vertical allow him to shield off defenders and attack the ball at its highest point while making contested catches, which speaks to his athleticism. Legette has versatility in his arsenal with 735 snaps as an outside receiver and 254 in the slot. Being able to move around as a receiver makes it harder to game plan for him. One aspect of Legette's game that popped off the screen at the NFL Combine was his speed. He ran a blazing 4.39 in the 40-yard dash. Speed is one thing, but when you combine it with Legette's size and athletic traits, it makes for a pretty dangerous weapon. Legette has another great attribute that will carry over to the NFL, and that's his ability to block. There's nothing like a receiver that can get his hands dirty and help out in the running game. Legette's inexperience does mean that he has some things to work on. He's not that polished as a consistent route runner, and he mainly was used for his speed to stretch the field and attack the sidelines, so he'll need to expand his route tree. He could also work on his hands as drops were an issue at times. The good thing is that if Legette were to come to Dallas, he wouldn't be any higher than third option behind Lamb and Cooks, which would give him time to develop while also allowing his natural athletic skills and speed to give them some production in the process. Legette's time in the 40-yard dash will undoubtedly raise his stock, which means he could sneak in the back end of the first round. However, with a deep, talented receiver class, it's very possible that he could be on the board in the second round when the Cowboys have the 56th pick. If Dallas wants to snag a receiver early, Legette would be a great add on day 2 with his tremendous upside. It is too early to panic, but it is not too early to be disappointed.